Everyone ready? We'll call this special meeting of the EUFAULA City Council to order. Take roll call, please.
Mr. Powers.
Present.
Mr. Knight.
Present.
Mr. Bennett.
Present.
Mr. Cobbs.
Present.
Ms. Lurie.
Present.
Thank everyone for being here. We have one item on the agenda. It's consideration of the Alabama Department of Transportation compromise offer. City Attorney Mr. Potoff, would you give us an overview on that, please?
I will. All right, if the city by written agreement agrees it will not appeal the dismissal of the federal court lawsuit and agrees that it will not file a lawsuit in state court against ALDOT, the director, ALDOT's contractor relative to the North EUFAULA Avenue, ALDOT has agreed to the following. $100,000 per year for 3 years will be allocated to the city from ALDOT's state allocated road and bridge funds starting in fiscal year 2015 for a total of $300,000 to be used by the city for any road or bridge improvements at the sole discretion of the city. This money can only be used for road or bridge improvements. State law restrictions do not allow the funds to be used for landscaping or similar items. The city would have to agree that the state has a right-of-way on North EUFAULA Avenue from curb to curb to include the median. And then this, for item 3, this is where the additional 50 comes in. You can delete that first part of if no one files a new lawsuit in federal court, but what I provided y'all earlier. If ALDOT is allowed to proceed as planned with construction of 2 11-foot lanes with appropriate curbs on either side of the median, which will be reduced by 3 feet on each side, with construction to be completed prior to the pilgrimage, or if construction is not complete, with work to be suspended during the pilgrimage. ALDOT will pay the first $50,000 of costs for Ian Lockwood to submit a proposal before the end of February for traffic control devices or other feasible or proven measures that would permit the city in its discretion to restrict ordinary traffic usage of one of the new lanes on either side of the median to a single lane traffic flow, or open for 2-lane traffic on either side of the median wherever necessary. During periods of substantial beach traffic or during other heavy traffic periods, with the city responsible for traffic control. The purpose and intent of this would be to make the road restricted during certain periods to a 2-lane road. And Lockwood, convertible for 2-lane roads when necessary. ALDOT will retain Mr. Lockwood only for the purpose of payment. The city would provide the input to Mr. Lockwood. ALDOT would retain authority to determine whether Mr. Lockwood's proposal is safe, workable, and feasible, and would have the right not to implement any of his proposals if ALDOT deems them unsafe, impractical, or not feasible. As an alternative to the engagement of Mr. Lockwood or another consultant, ALDOT would provide the city an additional $50,000 for paving work in the 4th year, bringing the total from road and bridge funds to $350,000 to be used for street and bridge work at the city's discretion over a 4-year period.
Stay right there, sir.
Okay.
What questions we have?
Lord, now I wish you'd give me a little clarification on the median. Who own the median, who control the median, and who will control it in the future?
Okay, I can. All right, if under the settlement, right now, as we are right now, the city owns the median, which includes the street, the dirt, everything there, 132 feet, is what was dedicated to the city whenever the plan of Irwington was originally, and the chart and the land was given to the city. When this settlement, if this settlement is approved, then what would be different is we would have agreed to the right-of-way. However, let me explain why that is not necessarily different than what we have today, okay? Or not different than what we have today, all right? Under the current law, and this is what I was going, hold on, sorry. You know, I've given y'all the original plan of Irwington that's got that 132 feet. Yeah. Okay. The street of Eufaula Avenue is what's called a municipal connecting link road. And municipal connecting link roads are and will in the future serve a state purpose and are for the general benefit of the state. And that is the proper and legitimate function of the state to designate those roads as municipal connecting link roads. The Department of Transportation, what they do is they provide for the cost and the manner and extent of maintenance, repair, construction, and reconstruction of those roads independently or in cooperation with the city or the town under the statute. Because it is a road that was designated as a street, it is already public property. And so one thing that's been discussed is whether or not eminent domain applies in this instance. And it does not, because eminent domain has to do when you're converting private property to public property. So since the street is already public property, it would not apply, okay? So as far as control over the median, as far as designating whether, 3 feet of the median is needed as what is apparently they want now, and that they're taking now, that is their decision because.
Well, when you said they, are you talking about DOT?
Yes.
Okay.
And let me tell me why. And that is what is now, because they're out there doing it right now. The Highway Department has authority to construct and maintain city streets if they are roads of connection within the state highway system. St. Clair County, in the town of Riverside case, what happened in the town of Riverside was they wanted to close a street. And so the DOT came in and said that they were going to close a street that was a connection in state roads. So the town of Riverside sued the Department of Transportation, including St. Clair County, to try to prevent that from happening. And this is what the case law says. No citizen as such can acquire any vested property right in a state highway which deprives the highway director of the power conferred by statute to construct roads and bridges, and the rule is not changed because a group of citizens or taxpayers bring an action. In the exercise of police power, the state may change or alter public highways without the consent of local authorities. Courts generally uphold the conduct of road building authority in vacating, locating, and constructing highways where the conduct is not tainted with corruption, arbitrariness, or capriciousness. The power of establishing state highways are of statewide concern, and the state police power in these such cases is superior to that of the municipality. We, as the city, have police power over that road because we own it. But their power is superior to ours as whenever you're dealing with the municipality versus the state. Okay? Does that answer? I'm sorry, kind of long.
Yeah.
But does that take into consideration that it's in a historic district? I mean, you said
well,
it's a gray area.
Well, here's the issue whenever you take into account that it's in a historic area. Those are the causes of actions that are filed in federal court. That is the cause of action that we have pending right now in federal court. And so Judge Thompson did not grant the temporary restraining order because through that case, that is where federal law would have been applied and that the impact studies would have been required had Judge Thompson ruled a temporary restraining order. We had a conference call with Judge Thompson today. We filed additional briefs on Monday.
Just can I ask, when you say we, did the city file an additional brief or did SCLC file an additional brief?
No, we were on there too.
Okay.
We were on there too because there's not been any kind of, I was on the conference call. Okay. There's not been anything, there's no resolution to the case.
I understand.
Yeah, the case is still proceeding, yes. Okay. We filed a brief along with, it was all circulated to Joel and I. We approved it. We signed it. My name's signed to it, just like everything else. I was on the conference call with Judge Thompson this morning. The issue that you've got there is was a temporary restraining order that was denied. Judge Thompson has considered the temporary restraining order since it was heard not ex parte, and ex parte means only one side is considered at a time. whenever you file a temporary restraining order, there is the process where the judge can look at it by just looking at what one party has filed. So in this instance, what he did was he actually heard from both sides. We had a conference call with him shortly after it was filed, you know, within a day. So he has considered that temporary restraining order opinion as not only an opinion on the temporary restraining order, but also an opinion on the preliminary injunction. He has indicated that that order that was on the that was done on the 29th is an appealable order direct there. So now what we're left with as far as our recourse is either to file an appeal of that order, which the 11th Circuit is very difficult in the 11th Circuit to win on a segmentation case. It was difficult at the federal court level where we are at the U.S. District Court in front of Judge Thompson, and we lost. And so now he's given ALDOT and the federal defendants time until Friday at 5 o'clock to file additional briefing on whether or not there is an entitlement to an injunction pending an appeal. However, he did not grant an injunction today. He did not grant an injunction on the 29th. He was made aware on the conference call this morning that construction had already started and that it was going to continue. And he gave the defendants until Friday to file, you know, motions, knowing that construction is going on throughout that time. Those signal that it's unlikely that you're going to get any additional relief. Because if he would have given the relief, if he was going to give the relief, he would have given it before the construction started. And now he knows and is aware that the construction has already begun.
Let me ask a question. According to your analysis and reading the case law, ALDOT already has control of the median. Is that correct?
Yes.
Then let me just follow up on that.
Okay.
If that's the case, then why are they asking us to release it?
Well, I think the reality is just like in any case, if you've got a situation where you've got a case that is pending, you really want to try to have peace and resolve a case. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, there are many cases, I mean, I've been a lawyer for 20 years. There are many cases that where a settlement is made where the defendant on the other side offers money. However, because there's the cost of litigation, there's the expense of litigation, there's the idea of trying to prosecute the case. And so, you know, I don't think you can automatically assume just because money's offered that they think our arguments are necessarily good arguments. It's just that trying a case all the way through trial, through appeal, is expensive.
Cool, and I wasn't quite clear on this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say in the year of 2018, if that's all right with you all, 2018, if someone go in that median and decide to put a turning lane in there, will that turning lane have to come through the CESO of the city?
No.
Okay.
No. No. And it's the same process of what's happening now.
Let me ask this question, because you know we have a Vietnam Veterans Memorial there.
Yeah.
Went through great expense. State governor participated. All the military, Vietnam vets, people from all over the country. We never asked any permission from ALDOT. We've had other situations where when we filed for like the grants where they said we didn't own the trees, but we had the grant.
Right.
You know, I mean, you made the case.
I know.
So basically what your position is that they were just doing that out of a courtesy for us.
What do you mean? I'm
well,
sorry.
Because since your position is that they have rights of the median, then although through all these years we made improvements, we got federal grants, we've done things out there to enhance that area. We put in the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Didn't have as big a controversy with this, but had controversy with that. putting it in that location. Your position is that they just allowed us to do that as a courtesy?
No, under the statute, they have, we have maintenance responsibilities. Under the connecting link road, I mean, it's still, although.
Well, I mean, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial is not maintenance.
I realize that. But because we do own that area, and because we put the Vietnam Veterans Memorial there, does not. Let me tell you. Let me give you an example. Let's back up and let me give you one example. Okay, the city of Mobile, back in the 1800s. They started to build a marketplace on Government Street. Right. And so these kind of things happen, and sometimes they happen not necessarily ever with the expectation that they would ever have to be removed or anything like that. Because, it is a very wide street. It's 132 feet is the street. And so, I can't speculate as to why ALDOT would have allowed, or the governor would have allowed, or whoever would have allowed the Vietnam Veterans Memorial to be placed there. But let me say this, though. Because we do have ownership, we do have, as far as maintenance and putting the statue there, we can do that. But here's what happens. We can be liable to have to remove it if it's needed because the public is entitled to an unimpeded way, okay? Because it's dedicated as a street.
So let me go back, because that was done with their concession, and just like the sprinkler system and the trees, that was done through a federal grant.
Right.
And
I know.
So all those things like that. So you're saying that ALDOT, your position is, which is different than I'm quite sure what we had with the other previous city attorney on those things. But anyway, let me ask this question. We can respond to this in part or in whole. In other words, we could agree to stop, not sue, drop the suit, but not the other part of it in terms as a response. Is that correct?
Well, we can make a counter offer and see if they accept it.
Okay.
We can certainly make a counter offer and see if they accept it. But let me, I just want to say one more thing. Okay. There have been, like for instance, in the city of Troy, what they did is they converted part of their city street to, they used it for a cemetery. And so that's what, so when somebody sued one day and said, look, you can only use the street for a street purpose, and you need to remove the cemetery. Well, of course, you can't make them do that. And so if, like for instance, I don't think there's any chance that they would come and say, let's just remove the Vietnam Veteran Memorial.
Although I do think there's some bodies buried out there.
Oh.
I'm sure right now.
Yeah, oh, probably so.
If not, they may be before midnight.
Yeah, yeah. So.
Any other questions for Courtney?
And then
thank you.
Can I make one other statement too? In those same grant applications where we filed as owner, we also stated in there that ALDOT had the right of way over that road.
And it's not going to make a bit of difference as the traffic count through there.
No, they have not provided us. Here's what, throughout the process and with the traffic control plans and all of the studies, they have not provided us any information about how much it was going to actually reduce the delay time. And so there hadn't been anything like that. And then of course there's always the consideration that a 4-lane is going to attract more traffic. I mean, just by the nature of it being a 4-lane. So.
That was beyond the legal point of it, right?
Well,
yeah. Thank you. That was a good overview. Any other questions or comments?
Well, I'd like to point out exactly what is offered. I don't think. I'm good. I can explain it. I don't think anybody's really looked at the actual financial offer. It's $100,000 a year in grant money. that means we have to use ALDOT specs. Currently, if you look at the way we pave with the city, that's basically a 3-to-1 foot paving difference. So realistically, the cash offer is $33,000 the first year, and then it's less after that with time value of $1. So you're looking at giving up 4.5 acres of downtown property, which she said we own, for less than $100,000, or approximately $100,000. I don't agree with that.
Well, it could have been more. Could have been 500,000.
But you can't ask private citizens not to file a lawsuit. That's ridiculous.
And
there's
that's all right. Let's
43,000.
just take one at a time. We're doing pretty good so far.
That's right.
And don't get me started, you know. I've got the Reverend sitting up here watching me closely right now, so. Baldwin, go ahead, you have the floor.
This is the 6th meeting that has been scheduled since the case was mediated on December 17, 2014. I'd like to make the motion that the city accept the settlement offer from the Alabama Department of Transportation and dismiss the claims pending in federal court and file no further action regarding this project, and ask the city attorney to notify the circuit court in Montgomery that the action filed by Roy Crow was not authorized by the city of EUFAULA.
Second.
There's a motion and a second.
Roll call vote, please.
Is there a clarification that you're talking about giving the right-of-way to the ALDOT also in that?
I'd like to make the motion to accept the settlement offer from the Alabama Department of Transportation and dismiss the claims pending in federal court. File no further action regarding this project, and ask the city attorney to notify the circuit court in Montgomery that the action filed by Roy Crow was not authorized by the city of EUFAULA.
Have a second.
Right.
Mr. Cobb.
Mr. Cobb, second.
Any other questions or discussion? Take a roll call vote. My name last.
Ms. Flurry,
Accept it, yes.
Mr. Cobbs,
Accept.
Mr. Bennett,
No.
Mr. Knight,
Accept it, yes.
Mr. Powers.
No. Motion carries 3-2. Any other business come before the council? Motion stand adjourned.
No.
We don't have anything on the agenda.
I just want to make a comment about
Let's just wait.
Yeah, we're done. We adjourned.
I feel I've got something else.
What did you have on?
I feel I've been pressured from all sides during the whole process. I've received phone calls and emails from concerned citizens on this issue, which I understand and I expect. I'm a public servant and I want to serve the public to the best of my ability. I never expected to feel intimidated during the meetings by one of my fellow council members. I made the motion yesterday and it was seconded. It was tabled by Mr. Powers without taking a vote. This is a result. He did not allow a vote to be taken on my motion prior to the meeting and being adjourned. I would like an explanation from the council president, and then I would like to hear from the city attorney whether this was legal.
And I'll be glad to provide that to you, and I'll provide it in writing. Any other
I got one.
business? Yes, Mr. Cobb, go ahead.
To the city of EUFAULA, city council, mayor, and the city attorney. I'm directing my question to Mr. Powell. I think over the positive, I got called all over the United States on YouTube. The way that you handle this office in the council meeting. I think I deserve a public apology.
I will prepare a written.
No,
I'm going to prepare a written public apology for everybody.
what I'm saying,
If that's not acceptable, then that's your call. But I'm going to prepare a written public apology
well,
with an explanation.
what I'm saying, I got calls all over the United States on YouTube.
So did I.
You know, I know. So was that. You know, we can settle this. You just said.
Well, I'll apologize to you.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. I sure appreciate it.
And I will put it in writing.
Thank you.
How's
No,
that?
you don't need to be right.
Well, I think there needs to be a full explanation
Thank you very much.
of everything behind this. Any other, Mr. Knight, would you like to add anything?
Well, you know I'm long.
You don't have to, Mr. Knight, but since
But,
everyone's having their piece.
Yeah, let me just say this. I think when you give the letter of apologies, It needs to be to the mayor. I think you need to send an apology to the attorney of this city of Eufaula. I think you need to send an apology to the city council, because a lot of things has been handled real ugly now. You know, I told you all the other night, things have been going on real bad. The only way, and I say it again, the only way we can move forward is to get together and decide what we need to do. Or get together with the mayor, the attorney, because I was real, I'm gonna tell everybody, I was real disappointed in the way our attorney was handled. I was real disappointed. And I hope to never sit on this council again with nobody that treat ladies the way he did, the way it was done.
No, Mayor, that's only the council section. I appreciate it.
Nothing to do with it.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Is there a second? Second, Mr. Cobb. All in favor say aye. Motion carries.
You can take a press conference if you'd like.